TG Geeks, episode 63, March 14th, 2016. Is it irrational to eat pie today? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I am Keith Lane, and we are coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from lovely I am the great and powerful Og, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes. And we have some news for you today, so let's just get to it.
Well, there's going to be a sequel to The Kingsmen.
Yay.
Yay. And Halle Berry looks like she's going to be a part of it.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Especially someone of her caliber.
Yeah.
Well, although we did have Colin Firth in the first film, and he's a very well-respected actor, so as well as Samuel Jackson as playing the bad guy.
Michael Caine.
And Michael Caine. So there was a really good cast in that first film, a very, very British, almost aristocratic kind of casting. And now Halle Berry is looking to be in the sequel to The Kingsmen, The Secret Service. And it looks like she's going to be playing the head of the CIA.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, we saw The Kingsmen, a number of months back. Just out of curiosity, I mean, we'd heard a lot about it. It looked like it could be a kind of a fun film. Did you think there was plenty of material for a second film?
Oh, yeah. I think that, yeah. I think they have a lot of material that they can draw from. They can continue to invent stories. I think there's a lot that they can do with that.
Yes. Well, I didn't realize this is actually an adaptation from a comic book.
Oh, really?
I had no idea.
I didn't.
Although it kind of makes sense. The Kingsman, The Secret Service, it was directed by Matthew Vaughn. This movie took in $414.4 million worldwide.
Wow.
I don't think 20th Century Fox thought it was going to be this big of a hit.
But
it was, and I guess because it was a hit, they want Matthew Vaughn, who directed the first film, they want him to do the second one. This is his first sequel.
Wow.
So I think that they've got a lot of faith in him in doing this. But again, part of the magic behind Kingsman: The Secret Service was also the origin story. We have your leading young character, there's a name I no longer remember, as he is indoctrinated into this very clandestine secret service for the gentleman, shall we say.
Yes.
Now that that's already taken care of, is there more that they can go with? Because a lot of the magic behind that film was watching this young character as he's being educated into being a gentleman, to becoming better than what he already is, but at the same time, being a deadly spy / assassin.
Yeah, I think that they could play on the whole thing of his, working class upbringing, and now he's a gentleman, and kind of blur those lines a little bit in some places where he forgets that he's supposed to be,
a gentleman.
Yes.
Well, they clearly indicate that at the end of the first film,
Yeah,
when he decides he wants to have personal relations with some woman in a rather not so missionary sort of way, shall we say?
Yeah. So I think that they have a lot of possibilities for it.
Yes, I'm rather jazzed by it, and of course, the first film primarily took place in England. But since it looks like Halle Berry's going to be a part of this as head of the CIA, all indications are this is going to take mostly place in the U.S.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I'm very kind of excited about it. I know that there had been initial reports Colin Firth would be a part of the sequel, even though he kind of met a rather sticky ending. But no, he will not be in this film, which is kind of a bummer because I really kind of dug him. He was a lot of fun. but no, he won't be in it. But Halle Berry, it could be some interesting personality dynamics going on.
Yeah.
So the sequel, which is at present simply called Kingsmen: The Secret Service 2, is looking for a June 16th, 2017 release date.
Interesting. Very
yes.
interesting.
Now, there was a show that was on Fox a couple of years ago that had an enormous cult following. It was a live-action presentation of The Tick.
The Tick.
Now, Tick was something that had been a cartoon on Fox. I'm not sure if this was ever a comic book or not, but it was a very successful cartoon about this very unbelievably strong superhero who was a complete and utter idiot. He was a total moron. And when it was translated to the live television series, shall we say, Patrick Warburton got Warburton. I know. I just got I got stuck up.
Yes, it was based on a comic book.
Was based on a comic book.
Yep.
Okay, yes. Patrick Warburton took on the title role, and to be honest, I really couldn't think of anybody better to play the part.
Because he has that classic goofball attitude that he can portray.
You know, for people who know, Keith and I, we've been to Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure a billion times, and if you've ever
maybe not a billion,
well,
just close.
No, I'm not exaggerating.
Just
no, it was a billion, I swear. Yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we've been on Soaring over California a number of times, and both that one and the version Soaring that's at the Orlando Park at Epcot, there's a narration about safety procedures and what the ride's all about. It's just a little video, and Patrick plays your steward for this. And every time, I can't help it, but every time he starts to say, let me go over a few safety precautions, and he walks off, I can't help but blurt out the word dork.
Yes, because he plays it to the hilt.
He is such a dork. And obviously
it's great, though.
This is Patrick's strength.
Exactly.
To play a complete and total idiot. I mean, even though he isn't in real life. I mean, he's a rather clever actor.
His dorkiness is that of somebody that is clueless.
Yeah.
That they are being goofy.
He really knows how to capitalize on that. Is
exactly.
a very rare trait.
Yeah.
Very few actors can do that and really make it convincing. Well,
even just voice acting too.
Kronk.
Oh my God.
Okay, we need to see Emperor's New Groove tonight. I'm sorry. Because he is such a dork. That's Patrick's strength. Well, he played the Tick in the original series, which I believe is still, you can watch that on Hulu presently. We may have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
It was very popular. It had such a following. And then it got canceled for whatever reason. Now, Amazon is looking to bring the show back for their Prime TV series. There's just one problem. Patrick Warburton can't be a part of it. Not in terms of acting. The guy's got a new series now. He's in an NBC show called Crowded. So he can no longer do the part. The funny thing is, all of his sidekicks, they are coming back. All of the original cast from the Fox series, they're coming back. So this is kind of a weird thing here.
Interesting.
A lot of people are not quite sure what to really make of this. Now, as far as the new series goes, Deadline did have a little blurb on it, and it reads as follows. In this new incarnation, the blue suit-wearing Tick is recovering from a memory loss. He ends up re-teaming with Arthur to fight evil. Newman's Arthur, played in the series by David Burke, has been labeled as a schizophrenic because of his statements that evil plans to rule the city, and no one believes him until he runs into the Tick. And then Dot, who is, I believe, Arthur's sister, she's a nurse who loves her brother Arthur to death and worries about him. So, wow. I'm excited, but I'm trepidation. That's the word that comes to mind, because how do you recast Patrick Warburton?
Yeah.
The guy is a force of nature.
Yep.
In terms of his comedic acting. So I'm very not so sure about how they're going to do that.
Who knows?
Yes,
Who
exactly.
knows?
All right, for the final story. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Did you need some help?
No, not at the moment. Not at the moment. Not at this moment. Star Trek Beyond is undergoing reshoots now, or is about to. 4 months before it's supposed to premiere in theaters, it's undergoing reshoots, and they've actually cast somebody new in this movie.
What?
Yes. Now, I'm pardon me.
Who? What?
All right. I'm going to
What?
try to get this name right. She's Iranian. So her name is, and forgive me because I know I'm going to ruin this, but her name I believe is Shoreh Aghdashloo. Okay. I may have gotten that wrong. And she's a very respectable actress. She's the first Iranian actress to win an Emmy.
Cool.
She had been in Rosewater and in the series 24. She is currently seen on Sci-Fi, on the series The Expanse. And she was even in the X-Men film, X-Men Last Stand.
The Expanse?
The Expanse, yeah.
Haven't we talked about picking that up?
The Expanse?
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Oh.
We need to. We
Yeah,
haven't done it
I
yet.
suppose.
We really need to because everybody's raving about
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's one of the best science fiction shows on television today. So we need to.
figure
I've
out
just
some way to pick it up.
I think it's available on one of the services like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon.
Okay. Anyway,
So
we're,
in any
we're
case,
talking about Star Trek.
So in any case, but she also was in X-Men: The Last Stand from 2008, where she played Dr. Kavita Rao, and she will be playing somebody simply known as the High Command of the Federation.
What?
Okay.
What?
Cue my rant music, please.
1 minute to auto-destruct.
Absolutely. I'm pissed. I'm
Nothing
sorry.
against the actress, but
No, nothing against the actress at all.
What
now,
is this?
I've got several things to say about this.
High Command of the Federation.
Okay, first let me discuss
of
the
Klingons
continuity.
and humans and
Let me first bring up the whole continuity issue of this. We've had established in Star Trek continuity, we've had senior admirals, and we've had the Federation Council,
the president.
and we've had the president of the Federation of Planets.
Yeah.
What the frack is the High Command of the Federation? And if anybody dare says, reboot, I say bull to the snot on that one, because that's not, no. There has never been a High Command of the Federation, and don't tell me that just because we've got this rebooted universe that all of a sudden you can chuck out old continuity, because that's not the case. I mean, let's keep in mind that the timeline split right when Kirk was born. I have a hard time believing that right after the first Star Trek JJ film came out that they decided to completely retool all of Starfleet, all of the Federation, and now have a High Command of the Federation. Rubbish. Yeah, that's me taking aim at you, Paramount. This is a bad move. I'm sorry. And now let me go on to the second thing about this. It is common knowledge that when the trailer came out, that it got panned all over the place. People hated it.
Sounds like they're attempting to, I won't say backpedal, but make it a little more palatable, or they're scrambling.
Well,
it sounds like.
there's a number of things that are going on here. For one, I have maintained for the longest time that Paramount really has absolutely no idea about what kind of property Star Trek really is.
Oh,
I
they
say
never
that they've never understood it. No, not at any time have they got it. So think about when Star Wars first came out. And then all these studios were going crazy trying to think of, okay, What can we do? Because obviously science fiction space battles, man, that's the thing. That's what everybody wants. What can we do? And somebody at Paramount says, excuse me, don't we have something called Star Trek? So what do? They go to Gene Roddenberry, who understood Star Trek probably better than anybody, and said, give us something. So what did he give? He gave them a movie that had more spirit of Star Trek, and I know that people are going to really crucify me for saying that, but I'm sticking to my guns on it, that really kind of talked about the philosophy of consciousness and life and what it means to be alive. It was a beautiful movie, in my opinion. And
you never said which one you were talking about.
Star Trek the Motion Picture.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
I knew what you were talking about.
I thought I said that. I'm sorry. It's Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Yeah.
The very first one.
Well, the problem is that this new rebooted universe resembles nothing of Gene's Star Trek.
In the slightest.
And that is the whole problem between Axanar and Paramount.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
At this point.
I'm glad you brought that up. And I think that's why a lot of people are really backing Alec Peters in his Axanar project, including David Gerrold.
Because they don't understand.
Paramount doesn't get it. It's the fans. I mean, all you got to do is look to the web series that have been put out there. The one that Vic Mignogna has done, which I think is called Star Trek Continues. There's another one, which I believe it's been sometimes dubbed Star Trek Phase 2. There's that one. You've got Axanar. These are three of the biggest ones right now, and they understand Star Trek. They understand its spirit and what it's all about. They've gone out of their way to try and maintain the integrity that Gene Roddenberry had created. And Paramount really just looks at Star Trek as it's some kind of commodity. It's something to make money out of. And, when you do that, you're insulting your fans. Yeah. And this, I'm sorry, really smacks of desperation because the fans are not happy with what came out as far as trailers go. They made no secret about it regarding their thoughts.
Yeah.
And now with 4 months coming out, apparently there's been some screen tests for it, and it has not gone over well.
Yep.
From what apparently I've read on Deadline.
Well, and they also, not to pick another scab, but for the so-called new series, they picked up Rod.
Oh yeah, they got Rod Roddenberry to do the new series for the CBS Online. That
sounds like desperation.
Yeah, Paramount is really desperate on several counts.
That's not Paramount doing that one.
No, that's CBS. CBS Online. That's going to be they're the ones who are responsible for the TV distribution. But it is more of Paramount trying to cover their butts, not just in terms of, oh man, we really don't want the fans to really hate what we're doing, because if they do, then B, it lessens their case regarding the whole Axanar lawsuit. So this is pure desperation, in my opinion. I mean, I like Shore. I think she's a fantastic actress. She's one of the brightest things about X-Men Last Stand, a movie that I just literally hated. And I'm very curious to see her in The Expanse. The fact that she's an Emmy winner, that speaks a lot. She's a strong actress.
Yep.
And before anybody kind of says, oh, you hate everything JJ, not so. In fact, I think the only thing that really makes the Star Trek JJ movies so powerful is the cast.
Yes.
That's an amazing group of actors, every single one of them. And that's the only reason I continue to go back to those films, because that cast is so doggone good. But the stories, I think, have just been garbage. And right now, this looks like it's going to be just the bottom of the heap, and I feel really bad that Shore had managed to get signed on to something which at this point looks like it's going to be a dog. But that's just my opinion. Maybe this movie will be really good. Who knows?
Who knows?
I would I would welcome any comments that any of you have to say on this.
Yep. We'd like to know what you have to say.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of it for the news that you have, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
And everybody knows that is our birthday music. Here are a few selected birthdays for March 14th through March 20th, 2016. March 14th, Pi Day, or is it Pi Day? Who knows?
Is it a 2 Pi Day?
It's 2 Pi Day. Two. No.
Well, that's
two doesn't fit in there.
6.24. I'm not going to do the math.
No. March 14th, Billy Crystal, Michael Caine.
Speaking of Michael Caine.
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
What a coincidence.
James Frain. He's was on Gotham.
Ah.
So he was the bad guy. What was his name?
The bad guy?
One of the bad guys. Can't think of it. Anyway, also March 14th, Albert Einstein and Frank Borman, the astronaut.
Ah.
Yes, we have a couple of astronauts. I had started, as I ran across a couple of astronauts this time. We missed a couple in the last couple of weeks. And it made me think that everybody that has walked on the moon is in their 80s.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
It was that long ago.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Well, my God, it's been 50 years.
Please
Almost.
don't remind me.
Almost 50 years.
You and I both, when we were children, we both watched I did. I know you did too.
Yeah.
Sitting in front of the television watching the first moonwalk.
Exactly.
I don't need to be reminded that I'm an old curmudgeon all of a sudden.
Yeah. Anyway, so I decided we would put those historical astronauts in the birthdays.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. March 15th, Judd Hirsch and Alan Bean, another astronaut.
How about that?
Exactly. I ran across two of them, so it was that's why I said, it made me think about that. March 16th, Jerry Lewis. And did you know his wife is Sherry Lewis?
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Anybody that
I
knows.
should have said, no, she isn't.
No, she isn't. It's a fact. Also on March 16th, Alan Tudyk and Victor Garber. March 17th, Rob Lowe, Gary Sinise.
Who played an astronaut?
Yes. Kurt Russell and Nat King Cole. He's such a nice man.
Yeah.
That's an old story.
That's an
We'll
inside
have
joke.
to tell that some time. March 18th, Queen Latifah, Vanessa Williams, Brad Dourif, and Peter Graves.
Yes.
So anyway, screwed that up, didn't I? March 18th also is Lillian Vernon. And Lillian Vernon is this... yeah.
My head is so confused.
I know. But Lillian Vernon had these magazines of all this crap. It was Sky Mall before Sky Mall became, all this stuff. And my grandmother used to give us these magazines from Lillian Vernon all the time. It's like, good God, So anyway, also March 18th, Amerigo Vespucci. Vespucci.
Ah,
yeah, 1452.
Oh, different Vespucci.
Yeah, different Vespucci.
Oh.
All right. March 19th, Bruce Willis, Harvey Weinstein, formerly of Miramax, the owner of Miramax, and March 19th, Patrick McGowan. March 20th, William Hurt, John Delancey, and Fred Rogers.
As of Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, absolutely. Also born on March 20th is Lauritz Melchior, was born in 1890. Famous tenor, operatic tenor.
Mom loves him.
Yep. Sergei Rachmaninoff on 1873. And Henrik Ibsen, not Henry Gibson.
Oh.
Henrik Ibsen, 1828.
And what's he famous for?
He was a playwright.
Ah, there we go.
So he did some of those odd things.
Okay.
So that's why Henry Gibson was kind of an out there character on Laugh-In.
I see.
So that's it for the birthdays today.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Forget about whether Han shot first. He did. Is it true that Han Solo teamed up with a 6-foot green rabbit? Did Darth Vader profess a devotion to the immortal gods of the Sith? And did Leia's unhealthy attraction to her brother grow for years? Ew. Hi, I'm voice actor Michael Corley, and I want to answer these questions and more on the Voxbox Star Wars comic book podcast. Each Voxbox episode covers classic Star Wars comics, starting with the original Marvel series in 1977 all the way to the present day. So tune in, have some fun, and may the Force be with you at VoxboxPodcast.com.
Go give a listen to our friends over at Voxbox Star Wars Podcast. And that is our listener feedback music. So we got some listener feedback today.
We have a little bit here. Now, regarding the story we just talked about a little bit earlier, Kingsmen 2, about possibly having Halle Berry join the cast. Now, in the article that was on our website, and I should add that all of these stories that we're talking about, they will be in the show notes for this episode on our website at tggeeks.com. Anyway, in the article for the Kingsmen 2, it had been said that the movie was a surprising hit, because, again, 20th Century wasn't expecting it to be that big. And good friend of the show, Scott Linder, simply writes, a surprising hit, I guess, but the wife and I loved this movie. Can't wait to see what else they come up with.
Yeah.
I'm of the same thought. Now, this is an interesting one. We didn't publish this on our website, but got a private message from Tom Albert Gulbranson, and he told us about a YouTube video that is simply called Star Wars The Third Gather's Backstroke of the West. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have absolutely no idea what the heck that means. What this means is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. What happened is that this is a sort of a reverse transliteration from China.
Oh, dear.
It was translated into Chinese when it was sent over there, and then someone decided to do a literal translation back into English. And what they did is they got a bunch of voice actors to superimpose or dub over, what Ewan McGregor and the other actors in that film did, using the transliteration from Chinese.
Oh, boy.
And it's insane. It is absolutely insane. We will have the link for that YouTube video on our show notes. And the message that Tom gave us was, you have to watch this. I can't breathe. Best part is the voiceover actors sound so much like the original cast. This is the best thing ever. Ever!
It's kind of funny because we have a close friend who speaks Chinese fluently, was an interpreter, and he takes us to different places, and some of these Chinese translations, or they'll have Chinese on them, and then they'll translate the Chinese, and one of the things was a little air freshener, and it was called Dispel Stink. So those were the characters that were there. So whoever, it means something completely different in Chinese, but when you translate it into English, that's what it meant.
Oh.
So anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those
kind of funny.
One of those languages that I don't think you can get some really good translation back and forth like you can, like maybe with like Latin. Or not Latin, but any of the Romantic languages, Spanish, Italian, French. So, be that as it may, I've heard some of it already. It's insane, and it is the entire film.
Oh my!
Yeah, the entire 2+ hours of Revenge of the Sith has been subjected to this transliteration. It's nutty.
Oh boy, we'll have to look at that.
Yeah. Now, regarding the story we just did about Shore Agdashlu, oh boy, I know I ruined that, joining Star Trek Beyond, we got a comment, talk about rapid response, from good friend Pia de los Muertos, also known as Pia Thrasher. And she simply wrote, interesting. Take that as you will. And then our story that we, again, just earlier talked about, how Amazon is giving the green light for The Tick. Friend of the show, Craig Stepp, who's also co-host of Technorama that sometimes Keith and I are on, he simply writes, If Patrick is not playing him, meaning the Tick, then put me in the yes and no column. Yes for the Tick, no because no Patrick.
I think there's going to be a lot of people.
I'm afraid so, because Scott Linder, well, he writes, I'm beginning to burn out on all the remakes. Seriously, frowny face.
Yep.
And then we got a comment from Michael Cohen.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. And he simply writes, well, why bother without Patrick?
Exactly.
And he's absolutely right. Now, earlier this week, Keith posted a review about a film short by Patricia Chica called Serpents Lullaby. We're going to discuss it in a little bit.
So I'm going to withhold any comment.
We're going to discuss that in a little bit, right? But we did get some response from Keith's review, and someone named Sissy simply wrote, spot on. Another person, Richard Duquette, wrote, thanks for the great review of the movie and the comment about the photography and the visually stunning. I'm the cinematographer behind this great short film, and it was fantastic working with Patricia.
Yay.
And then the producer of the short, Byron A. Martin, simply writes, great review of our film. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Serpents Lullaby and another film here shortly.
Yes.
So our comments, we want to hear from you. If you want to comment on our episodes, want to comment on articles, want to comment on anything, please do. Even if you like the show or dislike the show or don't like something in one of our articles, tell us about it.
Yeah, if you disagree with it, hey, we're cool.
Absolutely. But if you do comment, please be civil.
Play nice.
Play nice, exactly. Because we reserve the right to edit or delete comments that do not adhere to our terms of use and privacy policies. I do apologize one more time for having to say that, but given the history, we have to say it virtually every time.
Yeah, we were subjected to some really, really negative feedback, some rather hostile feedback.
Yeah.
So that's why we do this.
Yep. So you can look up our Facebook page as TG Squared Studios or TG Geeks Webcast, where you can comment on the episodes and the articles we publish. You can also comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, and you can receive a shout-out on a future episode, as the people above have. You can also call our listener feedback line, and we'll play your comment on air. 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357.
Hi, this is Pia Thrasher, filmmaker, actress, and artist, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
So we're ready for our second segment, and I want to lead off this second segment by saying something about an article that we ran here a couple of days ago when about the Wachowskis, and the title of our article was "The Wachowskis Are Now Sisters." And yes, we now have Lilly and Lana Wachowski. I think that it is a tremendous thing that they both felt comfortable enough to come out as transgender. So
yes, absolutely.
It's one of those things. And please take a look at the article, because there is a segment of her letter that she wrote to the Windy City Times, and it was quite a lengthy letter. We have a link to the entire letter, but we also have an excerpt of that letter. And one of the things that she said is that she had the money and the support system to be able to do this, and that others don't. And it was a really great letter. So the transgender community is given a bad rap for a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that go on, a lot of murders and whatnot, but they're just people.
Yeah.
So I have to say that. So Congratulations to Lilly.
Absolutely.
And also to Lana.
And I'm actually kind of looking forward to see what they're going to do as far as filmmakers go.
Yeah, well,
Because
they're still the Wachowskis.
They're still the Wachowskis. I mean, they're very good filmmakers. I mean, Keith and I have made no bones about how much we loved Sense8.
Oh, my God.
God, I love that. And for what...
And that,
and if anybody wants to know, Sense8, they've already started table reads for the next season, so I'm really excited.
And that may have been a coming out, if you will, for Lilly.
It may have been.
At that point. I mean,
it
certainly
may have
for
been
Lana,
because
but,
there was, because Lana was already transgender by the time they started that, and it might have been something to serve as maybe motivation for Lilly to take that step. And in any case, I'm really excited to see where their careers are going to go. And this may sound weird, but now that they've made this move, and now that they feel more comfortable being who they are, I'd be really curious to see what kind of creative spark this is going to do for them in terms of their filmmaking and their vision.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm happy for them, and I'm excited for their future as filmmakers, and I'm hoping that Hollywood or the industry itself will not turn their collective nose up at them because of what they've done.
Yeah, well, they didn't when Lana.
No, they didn't.
So, maybe things are changing.
I certainly hope so. I hope that this is a good indication.
Well, they have enough money to do what they want to do anyway. So.
That is true. And I don't think Netflix is going to really mind all that much because, as we said, Sense8 was such a huge hit, and I think they want to continue with that. So I'm really positive I feel very positive about what they're doing, and I hope that this is a good indication of where we are going as a society. Absolutely. I know that we're not at the finish line yet. We still got a heck of a lot of track to run, but this is still a very positive step.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk a little bit about these movie reviews. Now,
yeah, we did 2 reviews this week.
This past week.
I did one, and Ben did the other one.
And first we're going to talk about Serpents Lullaby. That's the one we just did a little bit of feedback on. This was a short film that was by Patricia Chica, good friend Patricia Chica.
Yes.
She directed this film.
And, oh, my God.
Now,
it was just incredible.
We
I loved
first
it.
saw just a little trailer blurb for it on her website. And we were, just from the trailer, we were completely and totally mesmerized by what we saw.
Absolutely.
Largely due to just the cinematography and what they showed. It has a rather Hitchcockian kind of vibe to it, at least in terms of the trailer.
Yep.
Because by not showing a lot, it gave such a feeling of icy, chilly kind of horror to it. And
yeah, you can read my thoughts in the
you can read
in the review.
Yeah.
So what did you think of it?
I was really impressed by it. Well, for starters, this film is beautiful.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I think that you and I have both really come to appreciate since we went to Horrible Imaginings last year, that horror can be beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
It can be artistically gorgeous.
Yes. Now, granted, there is the blood and gore and guts, and we're going to talk about
We'll talk about that a little bit
in just a minute. But
at the same time, horror can be just such a visually, aesthetically pleasing thing to look at, and this movie is it. For one thing, the setting is gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
But what I loved about it is the way it was filmed. In one, it serves two purposes. First, the setting itself pulls you right in. The way it was filmed, you are drawn into this, and sometimes camera angles can play such a huge part. And some films, they like to go for really odd angles and whatnot to help enhance feelings of creepiness. But one shot that just grabbed me right in the trailer alone is this dead straight on shot of this house.
Yeah.
And then it does this slow pan up in the trailer where you see a silhouette, and there is the silhouette of a mother. We're assuming it's a mother holding her baby, and then we hear her scream.
Yep.
And it's chilling. And when we saw the film, that's the first thing that you get. And I was immediately reminded of our interview with Patricia about her ability to help her actors get a sense of energy when acting out a scene, because that scream was bone chilling.
And the whole short has this energy about it. I mean, as I say in my review, it's a very sad, sad but satisfying ending.
That was the very word I was about to use. The entire tone of this film feels sad.
Yeah. Well, and part of it is the cinematography too.
Well, yeah, the cinematography helps to do that.
It's a film noirish or black and white.
It's black and white with color.
With color, but the color palette is
very muted,
really subdued.
It's
ice blue.
Yeah, there's a certain almost desaturation to it in places.
Yeah,
where you get that sense of sadness, bleakness, despair, hopelessness, and the plot. It's so well told. You just when you think just when you think the short film is going to go in one particular direction, it takes you in this new area. The misdirection is so well played out, and it is so low key at the same time, and that's part of the tension that is presented in this. Just when you think, oh no, it's going to go in this one particular area, and you get this immediate sense of unease.
Yeah.
And you're not uncomfortable, but unease for where it's going to go. And then it takes another abrupt left turn, and right at the very last second, I had this prediction. Oh, it's going to do this. And then I thought, no, they're not going to do that. They're going to cop out. Oh, they didn't cop out.
Yep.
They followed through, and at the same, the sense of satisfaction that I felt out of that.
Yeah.
I felt like that me as the viewer had been treated intelligently in watching this.
Yeah.
I thought it was just gorgeous. I mean, really, really, absolutely beautiful. I think Patricia did. She is such a magnificent director.
Yeah. Oh,
she really
is. A great
is.
human being, too.
Well, she's a great human being. We're going to talk a little bit more about Patricia in a moment herself. But I think as a director, man, people really need to bring her on more projects.
Absolutely.
As a director.
Oh,
She is absolutely amazing just based on this one short. It was fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. I mean, how can people see this short?
Well, I don't know that it's actually
not available anywhere.
Not
is it?
available.
I mean, we had a
anywhere.
private screener.
Yeah, so we'll take a look and see if we can't find out or see what Patricia can do. Make that available to our readers and listeners.
I hope that she would make this available commercially in some fashion or another, because it needs to be. It is gorgeous. I absolutely loved it. So now. There was a second film.
There was a second film that we watched. Another short.
It was called Night of the Slasher.
And
I wrote a review on it.
Very important thing about this.
Yeah,
it
was chosen to be shown at South by Southwest, which is, as of when we're recording this, it happened last night.
Yes, and actually Patricia was representing these people for public relations, and she was there at South by Southwest for the screener last night. And
let's talk about the film. Now, my thoughts are on the website, so anybody who wants to know what I thought about it, they can see it there. You and I watched the screener at the same time.
Yep.
How did you walk away from that?
It was great. I loved it.
And that's a slasher film, and you're not into those.
And I don't like blood and gore and guts and slasher and all that kind of stuff. But it had a sense of irreverence about it that I really liked. It wasn't a comedy, but it certainly didn't take itself seriously. shall
Not
we say.
completely.
Not completely. And to think this was shot in one take. It
One
was,
continuous
12
take.
minutes or so.
It's about
something
12
like
minutes,
that.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's great, and I think they did a fabulous job in being able to get all of the. They must have rehearsed that to death, but
They would have
it
to.
was really great. I thought it was a lot of fun.
One of the things
And
go ahead.
One of the things about this short, it was a short that they were presenting as a proof of concept to make a feature film.
Yeah.
So,
I'd really be intrigued to see this as a feature film.
yeah.
Now,
And I wish we had looked before we did this episode and find out how it was received at South by Southwest, but we can do that.
we
after
can
the show
follow up.
and put that in our
We
show
can do a
notes.
follow up on that. Now, one of the things that I commented in my review, and that we came away from, that we brought with us when we came away from Horrible Imaginings, unlike a dramatic film or a science fiction, I mean, those things are very much grounded in logic, reason, whether it's a short film, long film, doesn't matter. Especially with those kinds of films, you get a real sense of rationale. Horror plays on primal fear.
Yep.
And it's the nightmare. And for anybody who has ever had a nightmare, you and you look at it, you analyze it in the cold light of day, and many times those nightmares make absolutely no sense when you put them under any kind of bright light, shall we say.
Yeah.
Now, and a lot of horror films will do that. They don't necessarily make sense, but they're not supposed to make sense. They're supposed to do one thing, and that is to scare the living daylights out of you.
And this one certainly didn't make sense in some places.
I was going to ask you about that.
There were some things. I mean, it was irrational, and it was like, what?
But the fact that you had unanswered questions, that didn't take away anything.
Oh no, not at all. Because this short was kind of complete in itself, but I can see how they would flesh that out as a feature film, and I look forward to hopefully they can raise the money to do the feature film. I would certainly go see it.
Was there any part of that short, I'm just curious, was there any part of that short that just really stuck out, that you can still see in your brain?
Well, several things. The whole thing, because it was so unusual. Without giving anything away, I can't really say anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but there were a lot. Just replaying the whole thing in my head, it's like, oh, okay. It was great.
Yeah, it really was. Again, if people want to know what I thought about it, just check out our review for it on our website, and we will have a link for that in our show notes for this episode.
Yes.
Now, what's the big commonality between these two things? Patricia Chica.
Exactly. And we want to thank you, Patricia, for being supporters of ours and allowing us that screener for Night of the Slasher, and also allowing us to see Serpents Lullaby as among other things.
Yeah.
And I will have to say that when we posted the review for Night of the Slasher, it was actually on, was it Friday? Thursday. Thursday.
Was it Thursday?
It was Thursday, yes. You posted on Thursday.
Was it Thursday? Oh, okay.
Yep. And that was the day that they were arriving at South by Southwest, and we got a bunch of hits. And then yesterday we probably had the best day ever on our site with the number of hits, and all of it was due to people hitting that review of Night of the Slasher. And thank you, Patricia, for whatever you did. I assume that you sent a blast email to somebody who sent it to somebody else, who sent it to somebody else.
And they told two friends, and they told two friends,
exactly.
and so on and so on and so
on.
on.
So thank you so much for giving us a really good day. And
yeah, that was...
hopefully we'll pick up some new viewers and listeners.
I'm hoping that will create a new plateau. I mean, I don't expect us to continually hit that many hits every
No.
single. I mean, I would love it if we did. I don't expect it, but I'm hoping that our average plateau now will go up.
Yeah, so if you looked at Night of the Slasher and you're a first-time listener to our episode, please do check us out. I mean, we have lots of reviews. We've got lots of articles. We have lots of shows where we've done interviews, as well as just talked about crazy stuff. Our logo or our motto is, you name it, we talk about it. And boy, do we talk about everything under the sun. So...
And speaking of talking about everything under the sun,
absolutely.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Keith and I. Okay, before we go any further,
Yeah.
I need to thank 2 people. Actually, I need to thank 3. No, 4. I need to thank 4 people. Yes, 4 people. First, Claire O'Leary.
Yes, thank you, Claire.
Second, David Wagner.
Thank you, David.
Third, Ernest Cline.
Absolutely.
Fourth, Will Wheaton.
Yes. And then Steven Spielberg.
And, well, okay, 5, Steven Spielberg.
There we
And
go.
why are we thanking these 5 people?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Thanking Claire and David because they both recommended that we should read the book.
Yes.
Now, I sort of cheated. Now, Keith, you downloaded the actual book and you read it on
I did.
Kindle.
Yep.
I got the audiobook because it's just so hard for me to take away time and just lose myself in the pages of a book. I did find an unabridged audiobook that was read by Will Wheaton. So I thought, okay, unabridged, this is great. And I love Will Wheaton. I mean, the guy is such a geek, and he's such an awesome supporter of the LGBT community. He's an all-around really great guy. I would love to meet him someday. And he narrated it. So I thought, okay, great. So anyway, we both went through the book Ready Player One. And the reason we did it is because we did report on a story about how Spielberg is going to be turning this into a film for a 2017 or 2018 release.
Yeah.
And we had asked the question, should we read the book before we see the film? And David and Claire both said yes.
Yeah. And by the way, Ernest Cline is the author of this
Yes,
book,
he's
in
Ernest
case you
Cline.
didn't know. And
Yeah.
I would say to anybody, oh my gosh, where do we start?
Oh, man, I don't know where to
If you
begin on
are
this.
a pop culture sci-fi fantasy dystopian thriller.
More. I mean,
Oh my
if
gosh.
you're just a geek,
Yeah,
if you're just a
you
geek,
will
you
love
need to read this
Ready
book.
Player One, and especially if you're a geek.
Oh, and if you love gaming,
in our age range, or maybe
Yeah.
20 years younger.
70s, 80s pop culture.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This book is for you.
Oh my Lord. Some of the obscure references to 70s and 80s pop culture. Oh my Lord. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
The book is relentless.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely relentless.
In certain spots, I found myself reading faster because the tension was so high. It was unbelievable.
And yet, the book is funny.
Yep.
At
oh,
times.
God.
It's very funny. It has some of the most amazing characters. And
it's a handful of characters.
It's a handful. Yeah, only a handful of characters, and all told from the point of view of Wade.
Yes.
Who also goes by the computer handle Parsival, and it's all told from his point of view. It's a first person book, so it's all in his head, and I was just absolutely captivated by it.
Absolutely. Yeah, perfect word.
It really just grabbed me from the very first page. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm not going to give this really away because I really want all of you to check this book out if you haven't yet.
We're going to have a link to the Kindle, and I may do a link to the audiobook as well. So
yeah, maybe because it's worth getting.
It's how much was the audiobook?
Oh, I can't.
$7.99. I think
about $7.99 or so.
The Kindle was $7.99, and the audiobook was probably not much more. So, do check it out.
Yeah,
and
it's really well worth it. And I'll just simply say, it really deals greatly with virtual reality.
Yep.
And at the same time, there's some very strong social commentary
Absolutely.
in the book. So it's not just popcorn fluff.
No.
Not entirely. I mean, this is a book with substance.
And it has some real action and some dilemmas, and wow, it's great.
I mean, this was excellent theater of the mind.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the best
very
books,
well written.
It
very
is
well
so
written.
well, yes, so well written that as I was hearing it, I could literally just see the action unfold in my brain, and those are the best kinds of books.
Yeah, and we were talking last night as we were running around doing our routine of shopping in the car. We were talking about the book because I had just finished it yesterday afternoon, and the fact that how are they going to film this thing?
I know.
And I said, the fact that Steven Spielberg picked it up and that he's not directing films anymore.
No, he stopped directing it, but he's
So
directing this one
a number of years ago, and that he's picked this up and says, I want to direct this.
That says a lot.
He must have seen something in this that he says, wow, I can do this with it. And, the state of CGI today is unbelievable.
It's something else to remember. Spielberg has got a very good working relationship with Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
And Weta.
Interesting, yeah.
So one of the things that we discussed about is the digital landscape that's going to be needed in order to do this. And I think if Spielberg decides to work in some way or another with Peter Jackson, I mean, the movie's heavy. It's like just early days of pre-production right now. Even though they do have their cast, it has not started production yet. But I would not be the least bit surprised if he calls upon Peter Jackson for some kind of assistance and looks at Weta.
Yeah.
In the making of this film. If that were to happen, I would have every confidence that visually speaking, this movie will be gargantuan.
Yep.
Absolutely gargantuan. I am so excited for it.
I can't wait now.
Yeah.
Now that I've read the book,
I
it's
know.
like, oh my gosh, we have 2 years to wait.
I know. That's the sad part. We've got 2 years to wait. And one of the things that we both commented on is that you've got a really, really good book when you get to the end and you're sad.
That it's over.
It's over.
Also, speaking of, Ernest Cline has a new book that will be released on April 16th, and it's called Armada.
I am going to be getting my hands on that because Ernest Cline has earned my respect.
Absolutely.
I loved Ready Player One. And there's nothing more exciting than coming across an author that you just get so excited about every time they put out a new product. There's Jeannie Koch with her Alien series. And she's got another Alien book coming out in a couple of weeks. There's Jonathan Latt, who Keith and I just absolutely love to death. He's got a couple of books coming out, as well as he's going to start working on a sequel to The Geek. And now we've got Ernest Cline. My God, I mean, this is really a great thing to help encourage younger people to read.
To read and to think about writing too.
Yes.
Everybody, I do not consider myself a writer unless I am inspired, and I have written, I thought, some really good articles recently, and you just have to put your mind to it and do it.
Absolutely. And reading helps to make you a better writer.
Absolutely.
And I know that in the case of both of us, we have both become much better writers over the past year. Your writing is a lot better. My writing is a lot better than it used to be. And reading has played, it's not just the reading, but it's also the practicing of writing. But, we've talked about how important it is to read. We've done stories on that. And for anybody, if there are any parents out there who are trying to get your kids into reading, trying to pull their noses out of, their iPhone, their mobile device, their video game, whatever, these books are it.
Yep.
And
find something that draws their interest.
Absolutely. And these books are fun. I just cannot wait for more material to come out from these authors because I want to read them. And Ready Player One is just another book in this list of really great books that we've had the pleasure of reading lately. And my great hope now is that we get to interview Ernest Cline someday.
That would be wonderful.
I would love that.
That would be great. So now we have some follow-up items. One thing that I do want to talk about, and we're talking about Kids Need to Read, that is actually a charity that is sponsored by Phoenix Comic-Con 2016. And I want to say that they have a lot of things. They're giving away a bunch of money to them, and they're going to have, they usually have a huge booth at Comic-Con. Phoenix Comic-Con 2016 continues to announce guests and activities, and we get regular press releases from them, and they have a great lineup. There's still hotel rooms available, and memberships are available. Keep checking phoenixcomiccon.com for updates. And also, we talked about a comment from Pia Thrasher, and we had her little bumper that we did. We want to alert you that through Friday, March 18th, her Indiegogo campaign for a new film that she is doing, Things We Dig, is going on. We interviewed her in episode 57, and go to Indiegogo.com and look up Things We Dig and support her for as little as $5.
Yeah. And we want to give a special shout out to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide. You can read the Fancast Guide by going to Twitter. The people who put it out are known as Doctor Who Talking Who. They're on Twitter, and you can find them at Talking Who. In the same light, we want to give a special shout out to Brian Weber. We fondly refer to him as Arkle. He puts out something called the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. And you can find Brian on Twitter. He's known as Social Justice Scald, also known as at Arkle on Twitter. And he has a presence on Tumblr. He has something called the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager Quotes. It's very funny, and it's very naughty at places. So if you're going to take a gander at that, do it in the privacy of your own home. Don't do it at work, because it's very NSFW.
Yep. We also want to give a shout out to The Looky Show. The twins are a hoot. They are just a scream. Sasha and Dagmar, they do campy reviews of old classic films.
And I can't wait for their next one.
Yes, and they unfortunately had a little bit of a technical glitch with their show, so
I hope they remedy it soon.
I do too. They have lots of stuff over on YouTube. So Twitter is at Looky Show, and you can catch them on YouTube as Looky Show. If you like old movies and campy reviews, this show is for you.
And we need to give special acknowledgement to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, because they allow us to post our episodes on their page. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And very, 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 very special thanks to Jeremiah Reeves. He is their Grand Poobah moderator. A very, very, very nice guy. He's very, very shy, apparently very bashful. So he doesn't friend a lot of people on Facebook, but he's a really terribly nice guy. And the group it's one of my favorite groups on all of Facebook.
Great, yeah.
I really like it. It's a very safe group. It's a very friendly group, and it's a very intelligent group.
Yeah,
they
have lots of good discussion.
Lots of good
there.
Discussion there. Lots of fun discussion, and I've actually this a little side note here. A lot of my wallpaper that I use on my iPhone, I get from there, because there's some really great stuff there. Lots of great photos of cosplay. It's a fabulous group. I can't recommend it enough. So thank you, Jeremiah, and thank you, Gay Geek on Facebook.
Yes, thank you, Jeremiah. And lastly, we want to let you know about the Amazon ads that we have on our site. Rather than ask for money from anybody, we decided to try the Amazon ads. And we've got some static widgets on the right-hand side, and we have they're called search ads at the bottom of each article. If you could just give a click on one of those ads, no requirements to buy anything. If you want to buy something, we're obviously going to have the links to Ready Player One in this article for this episode. If you click on that and you decide to buy it, if you could use our link, that would be great. We get a little bit of a commission, and just click on an ad every once in a while. You don't have to buy anything, but it tells Amazon that we are getting some traffic for them. So thank you for your understanding. Up next time, Zach Noe Towers.
We have an interview.
Yes, we met him.
Compliments of Patricia
in Los Angeles, and we're going to interview him next week. So stay tuned. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page for all the articles that we talked about, as well as how to buy Ready Player One. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS, or that is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.